Hey there, Virgo. Welcome to your reading for the week, or no, this is for mid-October 2025. What do you know? Right here. Butterflies. It says watch for signs. You also have this take a breath card as well, Virgo. So we're going to see what comes up for you. Definitely, I would be paying attention to sign symbols, synchronicities. Again, in the middle of this month, I think it's on the 14th, we have Neptune retro, is officially moving back into Pisces, which is very spiritual energy, very good for sign symbols, synchronicities, and, being your opposite sign, it's going to be important that you pay attention to any signs that you're receiving. Kind of like the funny thing is, I feel, kind of how it's popping into my head for you, Virgo, is I feel like people could literally be saying things to you that you have been thinking, right? And so, I would pay attention to those things that you're thinking about, and whatever people say, because that could be confirmation from the universe. Like the universe could be like, yes, I want you to move in this direction, or I want you to do this thing. That's why this person is saying what you've been thinking, right? So I would be paying attention to, like, in your last card here is Neptune. I would be paying attention to those messages and stuff like that. I've even had weird things happen, like on YouTube, right? It's like sometimes I'll think about something and I'll see like a YouTube video that pops up that is exactly what I was thinking about. Now, yes, Google might be tapped into our brains, but still, it's kind of weird sometimes when that happens. So again, I would be paying attention to those signs. In your current general energies, you have the Seven of Pentacles, the Ace of Pentacles, and the Death card. Like everybody else, you're probably just ready for a change. Seven of Pentacles is a change in direction. The Death card is a change. You have the Tower, which I wouldn't worry about because you have the Star right next to it in this reading, by the way, which kind of cancels out the Tower. We'll talk about it in a minute. But the Seven of Pentacles, he's looking at the work that he has done on everything in his life. And he's basically saying, is the juice worth the squeeze? Is it worth it for me to keep investing my time, effort, attention, energy into these pentacles, or is there something better? This is Virgo's favorite pastime right here. This is analysis. And so, he might be a little bit stuck in analysis paralysis. I don't really feel like you're stuck. I feel you're just kind of like looking at where you spend the most time. The reason I say that is because you have the Queen of Pentacles. Queen of Pentacles is about looking into your resources and, really making sure that you're using your time, which is a resource, wisely, or using your energy more wisely as well. And, it just seems to me like a lot of you are doing that. You have the Ace of Pentacles. Yeah, it could be some big opportunities coming in for you this month. I do feel work opportunities for Virgo. I feel like Virgos have been looking for better work opportunities or better ways that they can work in the first place, so that you can get probably better results or more money or more whatever for whatever it is that you do. And I do think that would be a good focus for you with the Ace of Pentacles, is like looking for a bigger opportunity. But I do feel specifically that you could be just like literally could be getting a work opportunity this month. You have the Death card. Big changes coming for Virgo. We've been talking about it all year, how you are changing in a lot of ways, and I think you could be reinventing yourself in a lot of ways. The thing I like about the rest of this month is that, the rest of this month looks good for getting answers. Like anything that hasn't been clear, anything that you haven't been sure of, anything that you've been trying to decide on, right? Those types of choices and decisions, you could be getting some answers. And the Death card doesn't really represent answers, but it actually kind of does, because I said so. We have the two pillars from the moon right here, and the sun is coming up between those two pillars. So sometimes I feel that the Death card can represent clarity, or can represent, kind of clarity on something that you've been trying to make change in your life. You could finally be getting the answer on like what you have to do to finish it. You also have the Four of Wands, which, speaking of finishing things, the Four of Wands is a card of getting to a finish line. And so some of you maybe have been trying to finish something with with the Death card. He has this white rose, which can represent the light at the end of the tunnel. And I definitely feel some of you I do get that like light at the end of the tunnel type of feeling from this reading. It's like the Tower and the Star can sometimes be a little bit of a blessing in disguise, but not really. It basically says you've been through something that has been a Tower moment and you're getting to the end of it. So, again, I think some of you could be, a little bit of a blessing in disguise. With the Seven of Pentacles, you have the Five of Pentacles. Everybody's problem. We all have to work on believing in ourselves more right now because there's too much analysis paralysis. There's too much thinking in the energy. Uranus in Gemini. Uranus in Gemini is actually really good. Uranus loves being in Gemini, but I think on a personal level for some of us, it could make us think a little bit too much, and we need to more, I think it's not saying that we should not think. Gemini loves thinking. Uranus, like I said, loves being in Gemini. It is a higher octave of Mercury. It loves being there. And so it's like a good placement. But I just think we should think, but, we can think, but we should do. We should, and, I think we also need to understand that the ideas that we have during Uranus and Gemini and Neptune and Pisces, which will be for until the beginning of the year, basically, it's like, the ideas will require change. They will require iteration. How you start is not how you're going to finish. I think if you can get comfortable with that right now, right now as I'm talking to you, then your things are going to be a lot smoother. I think that people who try to start something and try to know the finish line are going to really, really struggle because they're basically going to have their mind made up on like, this is how this is going to go. But really, we're in a time with Neptune and Pisces, especially, we have to be inspired. If you're too fixed and you're not feeling inspired, then things aren't going to work. And also, with Uranus and Gemini, I think things have to more develop over time, right? And so I think if you could work on things and just think to yourself, I'm going to allow this to develop, I'm going to allow it to take me wherever it wants to go, then things will be much smoother. And, there you go. With the Ace of Pentacles, you have the Empress. You have a very abundant opportunity coming in for you. So any work opportunities you're getting. I'm also getting travel here as well, Virgo. Like if you are specifically getting a work opportunity that would require you to travel, I would take it. Like if your boss comes to you and says, do you want to do this? Yes, is what you should say. Because, and there you go. My phone is on silent and it still goes off, right? But I think you should definitely pay attention to that, right? With the Death card, you have the Wheel of Fortune here. The Wheel of Fortune is like a change in your fortunes, which we kind of do see here. And so you definitely could be experiencing some sort of change in your fortunes. I feel a little bit more like of your destiny here. The Wheel of Fortune is your destiny, but I always say it is your personal vision for your life. It is how you think your destiny is going, right? And so the Wheel of Fortune is kind of like how we see our life and where it's going. And I feel a lot of you could be feeling more like you're on the right path or, getting more confirmations from the universe, as we said at the beginning of the reading. And I would be, again, paying attention to those things. We really need to get the wheel spinning forward, but it takes a little bit of energy, right? It's like kind of like a train is how I always say the Wheel of Fortune that's kind of the energy, right? A train, it starts very, very slow. But once it gets going, it's really hard to stop, right? And so you have to, anything you're creating, you have to build that momentum. You have to make sure you're creating a train in your life, right? So that you can be unstoppable, Virgo. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this Rhino Spirit. It says, overcome any obstacle. You have this Giraffe. It says, see the big picture. Yes, Star card. The Star is about zooming out on your life. It is about looking at everything that's going on in your life and connecting the dots. So definitely would be a good thing for you to do. You could just simply be overcoming obstacles with that Rhino Spirit. You have the Four of Wands, the Nine of Wands, and the Eight of Wands. The Four of Wands can be marriage. So if you are looking for love, definitely could be marriage potential coming in for you if you want it. The Four of Wands can also be freedom. So you could be like setting yourself free with the Four of Wands. And, a lot of signs I've noticed in this set of readings have had cards of freedom. So, it might be a little bit of a collective energy that the universe is trying to get people to remove any toxic influences. You have the Devil right here. You do have the Star. The Devil's coming up in the good stuff, which kind of would say you are setting yourself free from things that are toxic. You have the Nine of Wands. Yeah, definitely not a time to give up, for sure. Nine of Wands says keep going, don't give up. He is the wounded warrior, but he's kind of like trying again. I also think that the Nine of Wands is a good card for throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. So it is my card of experimentation. Like he's been willing to try to do something multiple times, even if it didn't work. And he has maybe finally found the thing right here that he's holding on to that works, right? So like I said, if you're starting anything, I just be open to the finish line. It's like maybe there are 4 or 5 different finish lines on a project that you're working on, and maybe you don't realize that, but if you stay flexible, you might be able to reach the finish line that's like 10 feet away instead of the one that's like 10 miles away, right? So it's kind of giving me that like shortcut vibe. It's not really a shortcut. I just think you're finding a better way, to cross the finish line in your life, and that's kind of the feeling I get from this reading. So I would say be willing to, play, experiment, experience, all those things. You have the Eight of Wands. Eight of Wands is like quick success or a quick conclusion. I always say this month, I don't know what it is, but for the past, actually, all the readings that I've done in October so far have had a focus on focus. Like everybody's been getting like the Eight of Wands, the Nine of Pentacles, things like that. The Sun even. And the Sun can even be a card of focus. So, I think that for whatever reason, I feel the universe is trying to get us to like pick something in the distance to accomplish and just go for it, right? It could be because we've already had Saturn and Neptune in Aries. Saturn, especially in Aries, is going to require all of us to see something through to the end. We have to pick one thing, make it happen. Again, how we get to the finish line doesn't matter. We just have to kind of have the vision, right? The star is about having a North Star. The star, you could say, I want to become famous with a star. There are 6,000 ways to become famous in the world today, right? There's a million things that you could do. You could write a book. You could start a YouTube channel. You could end up an actor in a movie, whatever, right? So it's like you have to have the big vision with the star. And this is very Neptune and Pisces, by the way, as well. Having some sort of big impossible goal. But again, make the big thing your focus. But how you get there doesn't really matter. You should be following your inspirations towards success. Again, like I was saying, I would also Eight of Wands is a card of messages, so I would be paying attention to what people are saying to you because they could be kind of guiding you without realizing it. With the Four of Wands, you have the Ace of Wands. Ace of Wands is out with the old, in with the new. Every reading I've done for you this year has basically been saying that you're doing something new, Virgo. You're like the number one sign that gets this. And the other thing I would say to Virgo is that you are upgrading something. I don't necessarily feel you're doing something new. It might be what you have been doing, but you're just doing it in an upgraded way. I really think the word Virgo should focus on is like impact. It's like maybe right now you only impact like 10 people. It's maybe you have the opportunity to impact like 10,000 people, right? And that might sound crazy, but again, I think if you focus on whatever this is with the Eight of Wands and the star, that could really be the upgrade that you're receiving here. Again, Ace of Wands, it's not really an upgrade card, but kind of. And it is also a card that says follow your inspirations. With the Nine of Wands, you have the Lovers. I do feel some of you could be trying love again. I kind of said it at the beginning of the reading, but you do have the Queen and King of Pentacles here. So, obviously divine counterparts. You could be attracting a new person. It could be an earth sign for sure. But if you want love, I think that some of you could be opening back up to it with the Nine of Wands. Nine of Wands, like I said, isn't bad. But sometimes I do feel with the Nine of Wands we can be a little bit closed off. But I think you're kind of like opening back up with that Nine of Wands energy. So if you want love, there you go. With the Eight of Wands, you have the King of Cups. Yes, could be a King of Cups type person. I kind of feel sometimes that what I notice through readings is like archetypes, and the King of Cups can be an archetype, just like a type of person or an energy of a person, right, that could be coming in for you. And like everybody gets the King of Cups. I kind of feel it makes sense because the King of Cups has very stable emotions and he's sitting in choppy waters. So he's not worried about everything that's going on around him. He looks perfectly fine on his face. He's not worried about the choppy waters. So again, I don't know, like sometimes I feel that we're just in a crazy time right now. So obviously a person who is stable is probably going to be more attractive than a person who is freaking out about everything, right? So I don't know. It could just be like that. That could be describing the energy of the person. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have this person in uniform. There you go. Could be attracting a person in uniform. It says dominant, battle, official work, rules and regulations, obligations, responsibilities, and control. You have a sad news. It says bad news, inconvenient truth, delusion, disappointment, emotional, self-pity, sadness, quarrel, setback. So again, I think this is what you've been dealing with the Tower. Wouldn't worry too much about it because I feel like you've been dealing with that energy. Probably trying to remove yourself from some control here, Virgo, with the Tower and the Star and the Devil showing up here. So I actually feel good about this. I think some of you could be getting out of something that has been controlling you. For others, I feel like you need to pay attention to this. It's almost like saying to me, don't create your own prison. It's like, sometimes I think we know we should leave something before we actually do, right? And I feel this is saying, like, if you're feeling like something is going to take too much control over your life, like maybe you should leave before you wait too long, right? And so I do kind of feel that energy as well. You have the Queen of Pentacles, the Tower, and the Six of Pentacles. Queen of Pentacles is about being resourceful and using your resources. I kind of feel like she's saying there's nothing more that you need, especially for those of you that are, again, trying to make an impact with that Ace of Wands and the Star also, which we'll talk about in a minute. I feel that this is saying that you're kind of ready. It's almost just like the universe is saying, like, okay, get going. You are ready to do this thing that you're thinking about, and you have all the resources that you need. Really good cards for money. So again, I do feel a lot of you are going to be improving your finances here. Again, you have the Tower. The Tower is about accepting reality. I kind of feel it's kind of funny because this is also reminding me of Pisces energy. Like, I'm a Pisces, obviously, and many times in my life, I've agreed to things that turn into prisons, basically, right? Where, like, I agree to, like, work with people or, work on a project, and then I always regret it later because either I end up doing all the work or, it just doesn't work and it's a waste of time. And I don't know, that's kind of the feeling I have here with this and that official person card and the sad news. I feel it would be better for you to be the one, like the ender in a situation, especially if it's work related here, Virgo. Like, if you're joining a group and if you realize that it's not going to go anywhere, then it's definitely one of those things that I would probably avoid because I just feel it could be like a waste of time that you just don't need to waste, and that's what I'll say there. I'm not too worried about it because, like I said, you have the Star right here, and the Star kind of cancels out the Tower. So again, if you've been going through a Tower moment like this, or if you kind of come across one, it looks like you're gonna avoid it anyway. You have the Six of Pentacles. Six of Pentacles is about getting started. Pretty much everyone has had the Six of Pentacles in this set of readings so far, and I'm about halfway done with the reading, so yeah, I don't know. It could just be kind of a collective thing again that's coming up for everybody. Six of Pentacles, we have to start small and then go from there. Neptune retrograde in Pisces. Again, Neptune's the big impossible dream, and we have Saturn there as well. I've been begging people to just start something that seems impossible because you'll probably be very surprised with what you're able to accomplish. And, I've been encouraging people to do this for years. With the Queen of Pentacles, you have the Strength card. Yeah, see, this is like about valuing yourself. It's like, like it gives me the feelings. It's almost like saying you can do something on your own as well. It's like, if you join a group of people who are working on a project, I don't know, this is very specific. This might only be for like one of you, but, it gives me the vibes of like, maybe you tell a friend an idea and they're like, oh, I'll help you. It's like, maybe it would be nice to get the help, but at the same time, if you can do it on your own, if they're not going to be much of a help, it's almost like this is a Tower moment that you could avoid, or, it's almost like saying you need to value your own value more. You are much more capable than you realize. I think that's true for everyone. And I feel like you need to believe that. And I also feel like you need to believe that, it's like sometimes we should just do things like on our own. That doesn't mean you can't have people help you. I think this is more saying that you need to be number one. You need to be the leader. It's like if a friend wants to help you, fine. But it's like maybe you need to be like, yeah, but I'm the owner. I'm 100% owner of this. I'll of whatever the project is, right? And if they don't like it, they can scram, right? They can walk out the front door. Don't let the door hit you, right? So I think you need to value yourself on something here. With the Tower, you have the Star, so boom. Like I said, wouldn't even worry about it. I think you'll be perfectly fine. The Star kind of cancels out the Tower. If you have been dealing with the Tower moment, I feel some of you are kind of like either coming out on top in the situation, or you're just healing from it in general. Yes, with the Six of Pentacles, you have the Three of Wands. Three of Wands says you have to take the lead. So you are definitely going to be the leader in some sort of situation. Three of Wands is about expanding as well. And, maybe the only thing holding you back right now is your mind. what you're thinking or what you think you can accomplish or what you think you can do. So, like I said, you're much more capable than you realize, and that should give you confidence with, especially with this card. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have this North Node. North Node is in your opposite sign, Pisces. It says future. Neptune is in Pisces, your opposite sign. It says vision on it. So clearly, it's time for you to manifest a vision down on Earth. So there you go. I'm not going to beat a dead horse. We've been talking about it this whole entire time. You have the Devil, the Star, and the King of Pentacles. Again, with the South Node in your sign, you are probably definitely eliminating anything that is toxic, anything that no longer serves you, anything that slows you down, that gets in the way, that steals your energy. I just think it's something you're doing, and it's obviously a good thing. That's what we should do with the Devil. Again, with the Tower, also right here, you could be ending something with a person who was a devil. So if you've been in a toxic situation, you could be clearing it out. Star, same thing. Again, you have that giraffe card that says, see the big picture. The Star wants us to zoom out. It wants us to see everything we've done, everything we've accomplished in life. When we do that with the Star, it makes whatever we're about to do much easier. So, this is one of my favorite exercises, to write down all your accomplishments, right? And when you do that, anything that you're about to do, anything you've done that's hard, if you're about to do something hard, you can look back at that list and you can say, oh, I've done things that are 10 times harder, so this will be easy, right? It kind of helps you gain that bird's eye view perspective, and I feel the Star is encouraging you to do that. But you could definitely be the Star this month here, Virgo. You have the King of Pentacles. Yeah, wealth building. I think all Earth signs are basically focusing on wealth building at this time, creating financial security. And, a lot of people I think are going to be doing this, but definitely you, for sure. Kind of using your skills to improve your financial security as well is a big theme for Virgo. So there you go. With the Devil, you have the Nine of Wands. You could be putting up boundaries with a person, which would be good. This could also be about sticking up for your own boundaries. The Strength card is kind of like you in this reading, I feel. The Strength card, she's taming her inner voice, and she is controlling the words that she uses against herself. And so with the Devil and the Nine of Wands, it could be you putting up boundaries with yourself and saying, I'm no longer going to speak negatively about myself. I'm going to speak to myself positively. And that is exactly what I would do with those cards. With the Star, you have the Five of Swords. Five of Swords and the good stuff is about taking a risk. I say it all the time. Pluto and Aquarius, right? Pluto and Aquarius. Aquarius is the Star card. And the thing about Pluto and Aquarius is I think the risk that we all have to take is the risk of speaking up and being wrong, the risk of being on YouTube, the risk of exposure, basically, the risk of putting yourself out there and people making fun of you and things like that. It's kind of like the Fool, right? The Fool he is taking the risk of being called a fool. But this is kind of the time that we're in, is that we have, to get anywhere, we have to probably do things that have the risk of making us look like a fool. But I always say anyone who's done anything in life, who's been successful, has been called a fool, right? So it's that is the risk that we have to take. With the King of Pentacles, you have the Ace of Cups. Definitely could be love, for sure. You have divine counterparts right here. So I feel you definitely could be attracting a divine counterpart. Ace of Cups is your emotions overflowing, being very happy. So it is good. You have this purse card that says, pay attention to your finances. Yes, I think everybody needs to pay attention to their finances into next year, for sure. We're in a rocky financial time, Neptune and Pisces. Neptune will leave Pisces in January, but I've been saying since 2016, we are going to, you can go back to my lives, and so don't be surprised when this happens. There is going to be something that happens in the financial world. What? I have no freaking clue. Neptune and Pisces is unpredictable. It is like having 1,000 hurricanes over your head, being in the middle of an ocean with 1,000-foot waves, right? It's craziness. So what's going to happen? Who the hell knows? Should you worry about it? Hell no, right? And is it going to be bad? No, it's probably, we're probably going to see things happen that fix the financial mess, right? You have this bread card. It says period of prosperity and abundance. That's what you should be focusing on, right? Now, again, money looks good here, even though that card says pay attention. So all it's saying is don't spend your money all over the place. Make sure you're holding on to a little bit. You have this vase card that says secret admirer. I feel like you have a secret admirer is what I feel here. You have a person that doesn't know you yet, but when they see you, they will be your secret admirer. Does that make sense? It's I think this is someone new, basically. So there you go. You have this torch card. It says spiritual development, enlightenment, awareness, and understanding. Yeah, the whole first part of the reading was all about spiritual development. You have this tortoise. It says slowly but surely getting ahead. Finally, getting ahead here, Virgo, is what I feel. So definitely getting ahead and moving forward. There you go. This looks really good, Virgo. I like it. So thank you for being here. Make sure to leave a comment. Really helps me out. And definitely enjoy your month.